All right, in this video, we are going to provision a server that we are going to use for our development. So this will be a Linux server. We are going to provision it up on EC2. And to follow along, what you're going to need is to create an account with Amazon AWS. And you can do this on the free tier, so you just need to go in and create an account. And once you sign in, you should see a screen roughly like this. And I am in the Ohio region. So I run a lot of my production things in US East, and this is the US East is the largest set of data centers inside the Amazon network, and I'm not sure where the others stack up. So there's actually multiple data centers in each one of these. So it's more of a region rather than a single data center. Amazon's much, much bigger than just a handful of data centers. They run dozens and dozens of data centers. As far as which one for you to select, I would try to pick one that's geographically close to you. If it's in your country, that would be ideal. If it's close to your country, pick one that's closer to you because you'll have less latency. Like if you are in India, it would not make a lot of sense to grab a server in US East. I'd pick something in the Pacific, which would be a lot closer to you. But other than that, there's really no reason to select one region over the other. So I'm going to be using US East for the purposes of this video. Now you can come up here to services and you can see all the stuff here on AWS. A lot of this we're not going to get into, but I do want to come over here to EC2. Now I want to come down here. You can see that right now I don't have anything running in this region. And I'm going to come over here to launch instance. And I want to go to the AWS Marketplace. And I'm going to search on CentOS, and I'm going to take CentOS 7. That is probably the most recent version of CentOS. And you can see here that it is free tier eligible, and there's no cost for running this. So this is in the marketplace. Now there are other instances. So there are people who provide AMIs, and they do have a small cost associated with them. So you got to be careful there. But here it is CentOS. This is absolutely free to use. So we can use it in the free tier, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So I am going to go ahead and select that. And here you can see all the pricing details. And we are going to run on the T2 Micro, and fairly cost effective. I'm not sure if I passed T2 Micro or not. Here it is, T2 Micro. So roughly a penny an hour to run it on a T2 Micro once you are out of the free tier. But if you've just signed up, the T2 Micro is going to be free for you. So let's go ahead and continue that. And I'm going to grab the T2 Micro. You can see here that this is eligible. So I am going to do a review and launch. Actually, let's do configure instance details. So a couple minor things here. We are going to be launching one instance, and we are going to go ahead and create a new VPC. So that is my default VPC. And VPC is a virtual private cloud. So what that gives us for things running inside this cloud, they'll be able to talk to each other. But obviously, I don't want my instance talking to the rest of the Amazon cloud world. So this is a virtual private network for me to use with inside of EC2, and therefore other people will not be able to get to my instance from within the cloud, which is actually a really nice feature, because you obviously don't want your server that you provision to be exposed inside of Amazon's networks to everything else running inside of Amazon's networks. And the rest of the stuff we really don't need to worry about. These are advanced options, and if this is beyond the scope of the course, I'm just going to go ahead. We'll add storage. We'll get 8 gig. And actually, we are not running a database, so magnetic storage is just fine. You do have an option of SSD. That's perfectly fine, because there are costs associated with that storage. So we're just going to have an 8 gig volume that's going to get assigned to it. So if we ever stop this, recreate it, we'll still have the storage that we can attach to it. Don't need to tag it. Security group. So we are going to use this CentOS 7 security group. So that is fine for our purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and review and launch. And you can see here that this SSH rules is saying in the security group, from the world, any IP in the world can SSH into this. Now, if I was running something secure on this, I might want to do that. Actually, we do need to add one more rule here. Actually, let me cancel that. I'm going to show you guys that in a future video. So we will get into that. We'll come back to this in the setup of this, and I'll show you some tricks here as to setting up that security group. So we are going to go ahead and review and launch that. So it's been a little bit since I've provisioned one of these, and we can see here free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 gigabytes of general purpose SSD storage. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So we're only taking 8 gigabytes on this. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So it's been a little bit since I provisioned one of these. So Amazon is changing all the time. Their web interface is always evolving. So I am recording this in December of 2017. So in 2018, don't be surprised if there's minor differences in the UI and some of the Amazon things here, because the platform is always evolving. So I'm getting a security warning here. I am going to go ahead and say launch that. And now I am going to create a new key pair. And you're going to have to do this. So this is a pair of SSH keys. I am calling my key pair JHipster, and we will need to use these keys. These are SSH keys, so we're going to need to use these keys to be able to SSH into the instance. And I'm creating a new key pair. If you're following along, I suggest you do the exact same thing. So now I downloaded that, and this, if you're running things on Amazon, you definitely want to hold on to these. You want to put them in a safe place. You want to back them up, because this is the only time that you're going to be able to get these. So, and right here you can see that it is warning you, you will not be able to download the file again after it's created. That is absolutely true. If you lose that for whatever reason, you will have to relaunch everything that was dependent upon that key pair. So I'm going to go ahead and launch now. And this is going to take a few seconds here. And I'm going to pause the video while things are provisioning, and I'm going to come back to this and show you while it's running. Okay, my instance is now up and running. That took just several minutes to complete. You can see recently visited services. I'm going to come here to EC2. And you can see that I have one running instance now. Before it was all zeros, and I have one set of key pairs, 2 security groups, and no elastic IPs. So let's go ahead and take a look at that instance, and we can see that he is up and running. The key pair name is JHipster for the course. And you can see that I have the public IP of 18.217.32.121. And now I can take that key pair and SSH into that. But this video is getting a little bit long. I'll show you how to connect to the instance in a future video. But you are going to see the instance go initially in an initializing state, and then it will be running, and you'll get a little green dot there. So it does take several minutes for the instance to be provisioned and be up and available. Don't be surprised. Actually, it's gotten a lot faster. Several years ago, it took like 5-10 minutes for an instance to come up, and this came up surprisingly quick. So we are definitely going to be working with this in future videos. We'll connect in there, and we'll take a quick look at the Unix screen in an upcoming video.